of Minister of Tourism in Tunisia, so brings all her experience as a politician to her role, but is now Secretary General of the Maghreb Economic Forum, and has also had experience with both Mercedes-Benz and Daimler Chrysler in industry. She brings a very important, unique private sector perspective to this discussion today, and I give the floor to you, Dr. Karboul.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Sadly, there was today no shortage of tragic stories from Syrian refugees after 5 years of brutal conflict. But one resonated with me profoundly. A Syrian family of 2 parents and 4 children, a well-off middle-class family. Father owned a pharmacy, the mother an accountant, with a garden and house and daily homework struggles and weekly Sunday brunches. When the war hit too close to home and the children were not safe anymore, they headed to the Lebanese border with their savings. They rented a tiny piece of land where they started sharing a tent. As the year went by, their saving started dwindling to the point that even food became a luxury. The 2 twin girls, who both had plans to go to medical school, had to be married at 17, so there would be less mouths to feed. 6 months ago, their 15-year-old son had to leave school and go to work in the fields. And today, the last child, the 9-year-old Emina, had also to leave school as they just could not afford it anymore. This story has stayed to me because I see myself in each of them. I see my dreams shattered at 17 of having to be married instead of going to university. I see myself exploited for 12 hours a day as a 15-year-old girl, and as a mother of 2 daughters, I don't know how it would feel if I had to take them out of school. Today, we talk about getting over 1 million children back to school, and we need a new holistic approach that also includes the private sector that has been so far rather out of it. I talked with CEOs in preparation of this meeting, and what they shared with me is that governments and big agencies have been rather talking at them and not really with them. This unfortunately creates sometimes even meaningful CSR projects. But if we want to change the R in CSR from responsibility to results, then we need to build bridges and create spaces for a totally new type of conversation that will happen between the private sector, governments, and the non-profit sector to reach new ideas. The good news are that under the effort of the Global Business Coalition on Education, we can announce over $75 million of support from finance, industry, and technology sectors, among others. But this support is not just about finances. Working with the private sector can bring 2 major contributions. The first one is to find creative, maybe even disruptive solutions. Staying with the classical approach to education, such as building schools and hiring teachers only, cannot be fast enough and effective enough. Today, through technology, we can bring education and even school to children if we can bring children to school. Following today's conference, Alex Essayli, the founder of Jobon that I see there, and Tom Fletcher from the Global Business Coalition for Education will lead an initiative to harness the ingenuity of the tech sector with support from many technology leaders. And here is even a bigger prize to win. Disruptive solutions will not only help Syrian refugees or children, but many hundreds of millions of children out of school over the globe. The second contribution would be to change the narrative. Let's be honest. Many came today and pledged because they basically wanted to prevent more refugees to come to Europe or elsewhere. People in our region want security, justice, and opportunities. Security has been very much in the center of dialogue. Justice, here and there. But opportunities have been a rather much lower priority. Businesses and the private sector can create and help to create jobs and opportunities. The Global Business Coalition on Education will seek to raise further business support in close consultation with main donors, with the UN Education Envoy Gordon Brown, as well as the governments of Jordan, Lebanon, and Turkey. There is a magic key that can open many rooms: the room of opportunities, the room of security, and even the room for long-term stability, and that key is called education. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Karboul. I think I now have the pleasure of relieving the panel of its duties. And as you all apparently leave the stage, I'm going to call up to the podium a good friend and colleague, Dr. Tony Lake, who heads up UNICEF. He's going to make a short few comments to the plenary, and then he'll join me on the panel for the pledging session, which I'll then open. But thank you, Prime Minister Solberg, and thank you, the rest of the panel. Thank you.